Hey, good morning and welcome to Crusher Trading. This is a recap show for Friday, March 14th, 2025. We'll talk about yesterday's March 13th trades and setups and what we had. And yesterday was a really good day. Now we trade the Crusher Trade strategy here. And we had at least one that sets up every day. And the one we took yesterday was on NVDA. And let's talk about that trade right now. You can see here, NVDA, we had a move to the downside on most of the market yesterday, right out of the open. And here on NVIDIA, you can see what we do is we wait for the crush it zone. And that's it. We have Bollinger Bands set up. So we have the price coming outside the Bollinger Bands. We're at a key level here also at about 114.70. Hit the Bollinger Bands. At that point, what I do is I like to go over to the 10-second. I try to look for an energy. I do need energy too. I look for an entry. Basically, I want a clean touch. So, you don't see this here. Obviously, you wouldn't know that that exists. This is what we're looking right here on the 10-second. Okay. And we have a nice clean touch. So I'm looking for clean touches to start with, and I'm looking for entries. This is a little bit ambiguous. It may look like an entry. It may not. If you get in, it is what it is, right? You know where your stop is, but we want to get that 9 to cross the 20. Okay. So that looks like a pretty decent entry for the most part. However, you know what? You can use a little bit of your intelligence and just say, hey, you know what? We got red candles here. Let's wait for a green candle. That's not a bad idea. Right? And so here is the wick zone right in here. So it's breaking below. Your clean touch over here on the 5 still is intact. And then finally, we get a entry right in here. Right? We get these green candles. We get this lift off. We got a retest here on the 50 SMA. You also have the crossover on the EMA. So we have some good confluence here. We have a nice move to the upside. And then once we're in the trade, right? Once we're in the trade, we don't need to look at the 10-second anymore. Okay? That's it. Okay? And 10 o'clock is the average time. Yeah, that's right. 10:02. Good entry right in here. So now we are trimming. Where are we trimming at? I am trying now to hold most of my positions into the 382. And that is right here. So this is a big hold, you guys. If you're on a big ticker like Meta or Tesla, I wouldn't blame you for taking some profits early because it does pay very well. But once again, I have been trying to hold here a little bit longer. That's something that I work on. We usually hit those at least a 0.382 on these crush it zone trades. So if you have the ability to hold, great. If you're in a small account, take your profits, live to see another day, build that account up slowly, then you can save a couple more for trailers for the bigger moves. But that was an awesome trade that we had on NVIDIA yesterday. And once again, if you want to learn the crush it trade strategy, check out the links below. This is a setup that takes place every single day, and we'll show you how to play it in the room, all right? Let's go with Apple now and see what took place here, and we'll talk about what we got cooking for the rest of the day. You can see just lately here on the 5, we blasted through the crush it zone. How do we know we don't have an entry? Well, here it is right here. You're just basically channeling to the downside, continuation to the downside, waiting for that crossover to take place, which doesn't happen. So we don't have anything on Apple. Okay. Now on Apple going into today, we do have some key levels here at about 205.60 or 206.60 ish. And we are coming into the 360 moving average on the daily. Okay. So we're in here and we have this key level in here. So we're going to keep an eye on this and see if we get some kind of bounce to the upside today off of this level. What I'm thinking is we might produce a crush it zone that lines up with this. And if we do, we'll have some key confluence there for that move to the upside. So I'm going to have that on the side watch list. It looks very interesting, right? AMD hit the crush it zone in here also yesterday. So a little bit early, we got these 2 tower candles in here. We got 938. So if we come over here to the 938 area, we can see if we have an entry. And it's a little early. I don't care for the entry because by the time you get up to the 3.82, you're entering into the trade. So, don't feel like you have to enter these crush it zone trades early on or take the very first one you see. A lot of times if they're taking place before 9:45, you're really not going to get the full setup. I mean, it's going to set up, but you're not going to get your scale set up there. You'll get the setup in the 10 second, but where you're supposed to be scaling is going to be behind you now, and so you're going to be lost on where you're supposed to be scaling. So, bypass it. It's okay. There's going to be lots of great crush it zone trades that set up every day, every week. And if you don't get the first one, that's fine. It's before 9:45. You want to let the market digest a little bit. You want to let the options settle out a little bit too. So it's not a big deal if we let one of them go. Okay. I do like Meta. Kind of hit in the crush zone here, but the previous day low acted more like a magnet. And you can see that we did get a nice move down here into this level. Consolidation. And then you have an entry right here. This is A plus right here. A plus entry. Okay, 10-second setup right here. Price moves up above the 50. You get that retest in here at 10:04.40, and you have a nice move on AMD to the upside. Just a quick move all the way up to this daily level that I have marked at about 99.86. You can see you got the 360 just above it, which hasn't broken. But look at this nice resistance level we have right here on AMD. So going into today, what are we looking at on AMD? Let's just open this up a little bit. Things are kind of looking bullish here at the morning. So we don't know if we're going to get some kind of like drop and then a move to the upside or whatnot. I'm not going to try to have a bias on it. I'm just going to play the market, see what it gives me. Look for my 10-second setups at key levels and look for my entries there, okay? I got some sideways trading here. This is ranging here. So if this is ranging on AMD, we really need to get above this level here at 101.90 if we're going to see something. If we have this daily level, what I'd be looking for on the daily level here is a pop, retest, and a move to the upside for a quick scalp. If it's going to go bullish today, it is Friday. I don't believe in the Friday slide. It's not been proven statistically. But if we do decide to slide today, I'd look for a break down to the downside here below the 50 and then a retest the downside like this. Otherwise, I don't really have AMD on my watch list for today. I think there's going to be some better tickers to watch. So let's move on. Microsoft did also have a crush zone trade. Took place at about 10:05. That's the magic time, right? 10 o'clock is the magic number right there. And here it is on the 5 and on the 1 and on the 10 second. You can see we got nice clean touches on the 5 and pretty decent on the 1. The Bollinger Bands are running sideways, right? So that's a good indicator that we're going to get the push up to the upside here. Now, when you're running sideways, you're not going to get gigantic moves, but you're going to get more predictable moves, okay? And here it is. It's typical. Another classic A-plus setup off of the crush zone. We have the 9 crossing the 20 right in here for an entry. We have a retest of this candle. We got a green candle moving to the upside, okay? So I talked about this earlier on NVDA, or I think the other, what was it? I don't remember which one we were talking about. But if we don't get, right, if we do not get a green candle in here, right, if you're getting in here, right, we want to take this 20 cross. Look at how this sets up right here, okay? Was it, I don't remember if it was Apple. Let's see if I can go back here and look at this again here. Was it NVIDIA? So we'll go over to NVIDIA here. We're trying to find, oh yeah, the original one. See, do you see how the moving averages are just kind of, do you see the difference there? Where, we get a red candle in here, and you see that it just does not look the same as this Microsoft one, right? Do you see how this is all running to the upside? We have this nice move to the upside, and you come into NVIDIA here, and you got to move to the upside here, but it's not. Look at how the moving averages are not as lined up as they are on Microsoft here. You can definitely see the difference here. Definitely see the difference. So we have this nice move, and then you have your first entry here at a green candle, and then you have the retest candle right here at about 10:02.40. So there's a perfect entry right here. You get a nice move to the upside. So, what we call, this is the 10-second setup, and you're at any key level. Watch this formation and this pattern on the moving averages, and you got yourself a good setup all day long. Okay. Let's go to Amazon. So we'll test the 10-second setup here. Is, do we have a move at the crush zone? We don't. Here's the crush zone, right? We got red candles in here, Okay, we're waiting for a green candle. Once we get that cross, we don't have it. Okay, so we're not going to get in. If you did get in, that's fine. You know, you're learning. Stay small, and then you're going to get stopped out here when we get this impulsive move under the crush it zone. What you don't want to do is get locked into this psychological mess where you're like, you get a starter, it heads down, and you're like, well, I'm still in the crush it zone, so I'm going to hang on. And then you go, well, I've seen it bounce off the 1.786 before. I'm going to hang on a little bit more. And then you try to hang on, and then you get an impulsive move down. Now it's pushing you down to the 200. You're like, well, I'm in it now. Maybe I'll just add right here and see if we can get a push up to the crush it zone, and I'll try to get out of the trade. That is not how to trade. Okay? If you got in a starter here because you kind of jumped the gun a little bit, that's fine. Just get the heck out of the trade. Just get out. Look at the moving averages. We don't have a 10-second setup here. You can see that the 9 isn't even getting ready to cross yet anywhere's in here. So there's no reason in here to stay in this trade or even try to make it happen. So if you somehow jump the gun and try to get in a little bit early here on Amazon, just jump out quick. And if you're in a small account, and here's another thing they think, you're in a small account, you get one chance, because once you're in a cash account, and once that's done and over, you don't get to trade anymore today because you don't have any more cash left in your small account. So this is why we've got to be extra picky on what we're taking, okay? But look at the moving averages. The moving averages are going to tell you everything. Forget about the candles. Just erase them. Don't even think about them, and watch everything based on your moving averages. You do not have an entry here, okay? And if you get to this point here, just get the heck out of the trade, period, okay? Now what we can look for, let's just look real quick here on these moving averages. Now you can see we have some kind of retest or some kind of bounce here taking place at the 200%, and you can just look at the moving averages. That's all you got to do. Okay, we got the 9, we get a green candle, we got a red candle in here, so I'm going to wait just a second. There's my green candle, okay? We're going to look for an entry right in here. Now we're going to wait for the pop on the 50, and we might have to be patient. Okay, and actually, we're going to get stopped out again. Here it is. Boom. To the downside. And then here you go. This is another setup off of this key level. You have another entry. We wait for the retest. There it is again. There's the retest on the 50. So if you're in this, doing 10-second setup, and you're off a key level here, once again, you might have an entry, but you're looking for that green candle, which we don't get. And then here it is in here. We get the green candles right in there. There they are. Do you see the difference in that? It's kind of small, so we get stopped out. Right here, we jump the gun, get stopped out because we have all red candles. Down here, we have another key level. We think we're going to get it. We got some green candles in here, but we're not crossed over the 20 yet. Once we cross the 20, what do we get? More red candles. We get over here. We're waiting for our setup again. And there it is. We cross it again, and now we get a set of green candles that pushes us above the 50, okay? Takes practice, you'll get it, but that is Amazon. Going into today on Amazon, once again, just kind of some sideways trading here. I don't really have anything on Amazon for today. I'll be watching crush it zones if we get a crush it zone trade, possibly, if it's the only one we got, but really won't be looking at anything on Amazon. I do have this key level that we're at right now on the daily, so we could be looking at a move to the upside. You see most of everything is gapping up, so we got Amazon to the upside here. Also looking at Apple, I think, on the daily here. I don't know if I shared this already. If I did, sorry. Once again, we're coming up to 360 here, so we could also get a bounce up on that. Going into Meta. Meta also, I mean, I think we're looking for a bullish day, if you ask me, or we're looking for some kind of drop and then a pop, or if it wants to, maybe we'll fade. Who knows? But it's looking like we're at a lot of key levels here for some bounces for the day. But yesterday on Meta in the crush it zone, right? This on our probability, we keep lots of data. I keep lots of data on Meta, and this crush it zone trade right here, right? We do not have an entry on it. So this ups our probability. So if I have a 70% chance of getting a crush it zone trade, right? That's good, right? But if I can figure out which ones don't have an entry on it, that really ups my probability on the trade because I know not to take it, which means the ones that I do get are going to be better winners than these ones. By the way, Meta for the month so far is running at about 86% rate at the crush it zone with an average point move of 12 points. Okay. This is why we also want to hold. You got a 12-point move on Meta, which would be a really, really well-paying day. Okay. Once again, let's get into the 10-second setup here, see where we're at, see if we can get down to a key level, right? You know, you can see that you don't have anything in here going all the way down. And now we're looking for that turnaround. Okay. Let's see if we can see anything here. So do we have something going on here? Yep. This is a trade that we'd get into, right? Kind of pulls back. You get into freakout zone. This is why once you're in the trade right here and you don't get stopped out, right? You get your entry right in here. There it is. Here's your retest for the 50. And away you go. You no longer need to look at the 10-second. It's gone. And now we have a small move to the upside, but that is how you find those reversals right there. Okay. Or bounces or pullbacks, whatever you want to call them. But today going into Meta, what am I looking for? This is going to be on my watch list today. We got Meta, NVDA, and Tesla on the watch list. I'm looking for a break of the 50. Okay. I'd like to see a 50 break on the hourly. If we do get that, it's either going to fail or break, and we know this, but we'll look at the moving average to see if we have a setup. But I'm looking for a move like this, right, to the upside. And where is this here? So just going to be looking for something like this off the previous day lows. If it does go south, then we'll see what we can catch it on the south side. But I'd be looking at Meta here for a bounce off the 200-day coming up. Okay, so this is definitely on my watch list. I do want to try to gravitate on this one here if I can. Now remember, if we break the 100-day, right, we have the retest, we are 90% chance we're going to hit the 200 days. So the day we broke this, right, the day we broke this 100-day, we had a good 90% opportunity that the price is going to hit the 200-day. And so that is a good 2 to 3 week short call, or a short swing on Meta. Okay. And if you had taken this one, you would have gotten some trims on it already, but that was a really good setup there. But now we're going to wait to see if we get a bounce off of the 200-day or if it's going to continue down. I have this crazy feeling that we're going to break the 200. We're going to look for this move down here to 550. And then if we do get a move down to the 360s, we could see a bounce off the 360s. So we'll have to wait a few more days on Meta to see what sets up there. Okay. NVIDIA, we just went over. That was our trade yesterday. Did we talk about what's going on for today on NVIDIA? Okay, very bullish, right? You can see we are hitting some key levels here on NVIDIA. We did, once again, I told you, here it is right here. We broke the 100, got down. We actually gapped down, a big gap down earlier. Got back above the 100, hit the 100 again, got down to the 200, highly probable trade, got below the 200, and I think, do we have a 360 on this? So let me go back here. Let me find something here real quick. Let's see if this is what, NVIDIA? We are looking for a zone here. There it is. So we are getting a EMA cross on the 360 at this gap. I'm looking at NVIDIA, you know, it is bullish, but I'm also looking for a rejection up here also on the daily right in here in this level. So I think we could see a possible rejection on NVIDIA. Let me apply this here. No, I already have that level up there. There it is right there. So we'll just see. If it wants to stay bullish, you know, we're not going to argue with it, right? We're not going to argue with it. We're going to let it do what it wants to do. But I think in the long run, for a swing, I really want to see NVIDIA get down to the 360 for a nice bounce to the upside. This here is what I'd be looking for in NVIDIA if we stay bullish. And if we decide to go to the south, then we would probably look at this, maybe some bounce like this. So we'll just see what the market gives us today, you guys. We'll just see what the market gives us. Tesla. Welcome to my messy charts on Tesla. I'm going to clean these up today. Sorry about that. These things are messy. So On the 5, what are we looking for? The first thing we're looking for is crusher zone trades, right? And, you know, we got big wicks in here. It's been a volatile market. So we are at the crusher zone. I'm at a key level right here at 236. I think somebody took this yesterday. I don't remember who. But let's look at this on the 1. Okay, here it is again. So definitely got some action going on at the crusher zone. We're at about 10 o'clock. I told you about the 10 o'clock hour is roughly what we're going to get in that. So if we go over to the 10-second now, we'll see what kind of entry we have on here. Let's go back in time. 10 o'clock. Here it is. Oh, I already had it marked out. There you go. So this is a lot of times what we're dealing with at the crusher zone. You're trying to figure out, am I getting in? Am I getting out? It's kind of choppy. What's going on here? No, we don't like these, but sometimes this is what we get. So let me take the candles out of here so we get a better idea how to play this one. There we go. Now we're looking at the moving averages. Okay. We kind of get a cross in here. We get a failure. But we're not at the crusher zone per se. Let me open this up again and see where we're at. Sorry. We're not quite to the crusher zone here. Okay. We're going to move back down again. And one of the things too is like we're looking for those green candles, right? We're looking at the cross here. We're looking for green candles. We got red candles. We got it's trying to cross, but we got red candles still. Okay, so we're moving through here. And at this point right here, we turn these off. We look at this and we see that we have a possible crossover taking place right here. Okay, we have red candles. So you might enter into the trade right here thinking we finally got it. It's not the cleanest looking one, right? But we got the EMA above the SMA. So we have this move here. So now you're probably into the trade, okay? And you might freak out if you stay on the 10-second and think that you're going to get stopped out of the trade here, okay? Or if you held, here it is. We got a much prettier looking moving average right here for an entry. And then right here, we're showing a retest. Let's turn the candles back on here. Okay, look at how the green candles are. I could tell you, we want the green. We want green candles. Those are nice green candles. We got the retest here. This is a lot better looking than this one right here. It's a little choppy in here. We do get a candle. It's okay if you got the entry. We do get kind of a retest in here, so it's not the end of the world if you got into the trade here. You're just going to freak out for a while until you see this, and then you're going to have a sigh of relief. And you are now going to move over to the 1 minute. This is that chop that you worked through, and this is what you got into this trade somewhere's in here. You got about 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. You got about an hour, almost an hour of just sitting here, gritting your teeth, wondering if Tesla's going to work out, okay? And eventually it does. Another thing you can do too is you can also look at the 1 minute here on this big impulsive candle. We got kind of the same setup on the 10-second, right? You got an entry right in here. Right? 50 is far away, but I'm just saying you got your entry. You can see how this is all working out here. And then you get your move to the upside. So we don't play the 10-second on the 1. You can see that it gets too far away and you're going to give up most of that move. But here you have a nice entry or a nice confirmation on your entry in the 10-second when these moving averages start to line up. I don't know how well you can see that. So that looks good. Tesla, did we talk about this one yet as far as what we're going to do today? Let me see here. So Tesla, I got this key level right here. Definitely on watch. Okay. We had a nice bounce off of it. I didn't quite get to the level on here. So I was really waiting to get to this level so we can catch this bounce. We didn't quite get there. But you can see once again now we are on Tesla. We have some nice 2-year moving averages that we're getting into here. And so we'll see if we're going to get a little bit of a bounce, but I think we might get some failures on Tesla here coming up at the 300 level again. So we'll keep our eye on it. I don't have anything swing-wise that I'd be looking at on Tesla, but for intraday, probably just looking at previous day low and high to see if we get continuation. I think we got a nice barrier right here. We got the 9. You got that old gap zone. We have a pre-market high from yesterday in here. So I think this zone right in here, we might see some resistance right here on Tesla for a move to the downside. So we'll keep an eye on that for today. And then also, depending on where we get to at the open, if we're close to that 50, let's look to see if we either A, get down to the 50, or if B, if we want to break that 50, retest it, and move to the downside here on Tesla. So that's kind of what we'd be looking for there. And hopefully, you know, we get our crusher zones to line up with something in there, okay? Anybody have any questions? Anything you want to go over? If not, market opens in about 25 minutes, roughly. So we'll get things cleaned up and get ready for the open. All right, guys. If you want to learn more about crusher trading, check out the links below. Learn how you can consistently get green by trading the crusher trading strategy that sets up almost every single day on the tickers that we watch. All right, take care.